Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. Last night, I was somewhat introspective. I realized in the process of studying all angles on situations such as UFOs that I receive contradictory information pretty much a lot. And that gets confusing. I make hasty judgments based on either incomplete evidence or contradictory evidence, and sometimes I end up with egg on my face. Sometimes I have to backpedal. I do believe in the scientific inquiry spirit. I also believe in the spiritual inquiry spirit as well. And when evidence comes forward, it is not hypocritical. And in fact, it is imperative that in cases where we are wrong, we must change our minds only and essentially based on evidence. Well, I have a review of a very remarkable interview with Ross Coulthart of News Nation. And he is interviewing Jake Barber and a gentleman named Matthew Pines, who is the new official spokesman for Skywatcher. And I believe Ross Coulthart wanted to interview these two before episode 2 dropped. That will come on April 7th, 5 days from now. So I have been critical of these guys in the past based on my perception of what they've said and what they've shown, what they have failed to say and what they have failed to show. I'm not going to apologize for being critical. Sometimes I do get on a rant, and sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'm incomplete pretty much all the time, as we all are. That is an essential characteristic in order to help us move forward validly. And yes, we stutter and stumble and run and trip and fall and have to get back up again and brush ourselves off and keep moving forward all the time. That's not the issue. I'm actually, now that I have some more background of their method, I am excited for episode 2 of Skywatcher, without question. Now, I'm an impatient man, and I acknowledge that weakness. You all well know me now, if you've been watching me for any length of time, that I am not afraid to call the problems out. I am also not afraid to then turn right back around and give credit where credit is due if it is necessary based on the evidence. And that is what I'm doing here tonight in this video. I will give credit where credit's due because of the things I've heard in this very excellent interview. I'm not coming to any hard, fast conclusions of what is valid and what is not yet. I'm in the process of discovering it myself. Along the way, I do get critical, meaning sometimes negative, sometimes positive. But that's because I'm so passionate about learning in general. But the bottom line is I want what's real. That's it. That's what I'm asking. So I will leave a link to this interview in the description below this video, in my description. I will highly encourage you to watch this full interview. I'm not going to give you video clips. It is Ross Coulthart on News Nation. I'm not going to worry about the copyright issues, but I took really good notes over the entire hour-and-a-half interview on some highlights. I didn't take all notes of all the ideas they presented. I think they did an outstanding job. Seriously. Now, I get it. There's some who don't like them at all. I have been critical of them as well. There's some who really love them and all that jazz. I'm still in the process of assessing the validity based on what I've seen and heard. What I saw tonight makes me look forward to episode 2. Let's get on with it. Matthew Pines is the new official spokesperson for Skywatcher. He will lay out the agenda and goals and the discoveries because, and as they noted in this discussion tonight, just a few hours out, they are being inundated with videos and pictures, with criticisms and praise. I mean, it's overwhelming. I'm completely in sympathy with that. So this, at first I thought it was a bad move, more bureaucratic red tape, etc. I talked to my wife about it. She gave me her impression. I listened to the video. I don't think it's more bureaucratic nonsense. I think this is actually a key component to the whole goal of Skywatcher, and I will explain why tonight. Their discovery framework. This is a document of their overall approach. Now, the white paper I ridiculed last night in my video, but I was not trying to be snooty or mean-spirited. I'm simply saying, based on my impression of the evidence that they gave us in part 1, that they shouldn't be writing papers, they should be showing videos. I stand by that, but with a more nuanced approach after listening to this interview tonight. And I want to share that nuanced approach with you now, based on some things I'm going to be doing on my channel. And I will explain that here in just a few minutes. They will apply rigorous scientific work to their research. Now, I'm all for that. But notice, and I think they're serious, when they say rigorous scientific approach, and understanding that that just doesn't happen. That does take time, and it takes an enormous amount of energy. That's what makes science click. Okay, I'm with it. I'm with that. So they want to know what the phenomena is. They will use anecdotal as well as direct evidence, and again, in the spirit of reflecting accurate, true science, you don't just take something off the table because of a label from someone else of that something. You don't just dismiss something without examining it, exploring it, and seeing how it relates with other potentially relative and absolute evidences that all coalesce together to give us a more complete, accurate picture than if you previously just dismiss 5 or 6 different things and ways in order to arrive at a conclusion that confirms your own bias. That is precisely what we need to guard against. I am now beginning to see Skywatcher operating within that realm, and that I can get behind. I do believe that's the correct direction, sincerely. So we learn from other people's experiences as well as doing our own research, our own videos, our own photography, our own interviews with experts, scientists, authors, whoever they may be, male, female, black, white, etc. There is no limit barring any type of either evidence or person. So out on the range, they are right now recording part 3. So they're working on part 3. They've got part 2 done. They're going to present it in 5 days. They have a budget for 7 days of field work, and then they take 3 weeks of processing the information. And you say, why not just call them in and make a video? That was my former approach. Based on the information Mike Batista gave in part 1, when he said, oh, me? Yeah, I can call him in anytime I want. I now understand why he said it that way. I still disagree with it, but it's a fish hook. And I can't say I'm okay with it, but even that needs to be refined and adjusted, which is what they did in this interview tonight, in my opinion. They didn't specifically mention Mike Batista. That's me bringing him into this. Now, there's my heater. I apologize every time. I get so focused on doing this. So anyway, I'm not critiquing Batista. I'm not criticizing him at this point. Yes, they could have done it better, but I mean, how many things on my videos could I be doing better, right? So, I mean, we're all human. Okay, I'm granting that. Episode 2 releases April 7th. It will be about learning the 9 different classes of types of UAP. This is a classification that Skywatcher has itself come up with. In order to, you have to have an organized approach, because not everything they see in the sky is the same. And not all of it behaves the same way. So they have a classification system, completely sensible. They differentiate all the things that they are witnessing. This is the attempt that brings order, which means it gives us a means of understanding the phenomenon easier and more comprehensive. So again, entirely valid. Categories like machinery flying in the sky, and this is Jake Barber's description. Some of these categories are things like machines flying in the sky, actual craft, to light phenomenon, say crystals or beings or orbs. There are flat things like a plasma blob. Flying creatures. Now, Jake Barber named all this, okay? So this is why they have to have a classification system. It's perfectly sensible. These are the things Jake Barber confesses in this video that they have been seeing. So they've been busy. They've been hard at work. Why are they taking so much time giving us the evidence? I think their explanation is extremely valid. I'm changing my approach and my mind and my impatience a little bit more now based on what I heard tonight. And I believe I am entirely justified in backing off being so critical. There's those who really like seeing me do that. I will when it's justified. But I am in the short ending here because of my impatience. I admit that. I have to adjust, not them. And here is why. They have had interactions with the Tic Tac. It was really nice in this particular interview. While Jake was describing this interaction with the Tic Tac, he was showing the video of the Tic Tac. It's a lot better than the egg video. Okay, good. Just a hint that they're improving. My supposition is simply that they have just taken it in the teeth from that egg video. And now they're getting serious. No more amateur wacky stuff. Let's do this real. I believe, and that's just my supposition, but they really are acting serious now. So they have also seen and videoed and used infrared and used radar, and I can't remember the name of the other electrical type of imaging thing that he called it, but they have it on visual in multiple different systems, including the human, plus various types of machinery, a jellyfish flying through the air. And he goes to pains to say, this isn't the jellyfish that you've seen on the internet or out on the public. He said, no, this is, they have a story to tell about this in episode 2. And I'll return to that in just short order. Because I wrote, I sure hope it involves a video. And Jake assures us here in a few minutes that it's absolutely going to be a video in episode 2. Yeah, it has to be. I really hope it's not just a quick 3-second blurb from a really wacky angle and you can't get a really good look on that. Although there is precedence for even that, and Jake describes that later on, which I will get to. So, Matt, the spokesman, his job is going to be to collate the materials, to advise Skywatcher how to present the evidence that is scientifically rigorous. And this is why I have to adjust my expectations and my approach to this whole Skywatcher thing. Because my approach, just call them in, video it, and post it, that is not scientific and it is not rigorous. And so I change based on the better way that they are presenting. And they describe this, which I will share with you tonight. So I'm willing to be patient, and I'm willing to watch their episode 2. In fact, I'm actually very excited for it. They want to collect data. Perfect. So do I. That's why I went and got a telescope. That's why I went and got night vision binoculars, right? Because I want to collect data. All right, that's valid. Well, that takes time. I can personally testify to that. All these objects getting data because they don't want to rely on others' evidences or analysis or videos. Because, and like they rightfully point out, sincerely, there's a billion videos out there of UFOs on YouTube. But when I first got into this broadcasting part of studying UFOs and sharing content on YouTube, the more I looked on videos on YouTube, the more disgusted I got and the more shocked I got at how absolutely lousy the evidence was. You remember the one video, it's been a few months back, where I was actually complaining and I was asking people to put better evidence up because I'm becoming a debunker, and I'm not one. I'm a believer, but it's got to be good evidence. You can't just say anything's a stupid UFO. That's not valid, right? And so I am in sympathy with this very strongly. They want to be scientifically rigorous. Well, they have my full support for that approach. See, I wasn't taking that approach, so I have to change. That makes sense to me. So they want structured data collection. structured data collection. In this manner, they can begin to grasp, understand, and utilize patterns which give us far stronger knowledge and better abilities to distinguish what is true from the false, instead of just quickly shooting a UFO video and posting it on YouTube, like I was saying. Now, I was basing that on Matt Batista's claim, though, right? This is the better way. And I acquiesce to this very happily, because I too, this has to be scientifically rigorous or it's worthless, right? Well, they're not going to spend the entire year spending a boatload of money using all this equipment and using their time away from their families and other things they could be doing, enjoying themselves at the beach, surfing, etc., just to post stupid crap. All right, I get it. I'm with you. So what they're doing in order to attain the structured data collection, they have to use multiple data collection modalities. Okay, Matt is trying to establish himself as an intellectual and a scientifically capable person, and he does a good job of it. He is that. He's a good addition to the team. What that all means is the more different ways you can collect data on an object, the more objective and well-rounded and realistic it can be. For instance, you use a human psionics person. You also have binoculars looking up at the sky. You also have a machine that helps call in the UAPs, what Ross Coulthard in the first interview called the dog whistle. And Jake talked about that quite extensively. Yes, that's available. You also, not only just binoculars, but night vision binoculars. All right. Not only that, but telescopes. Good. But not only those, but also infrared. Yes, of course. Yes. Because the more different types of a more complete, robust data collection of scientific instruments you can use to record what is happening when the UAP arrive is only the intelligent way to do this. That I will openly acknowledge. I can get behind that. This is wonderful that this is how they're doing it. It's exactly why this answers my question. Where are your 50 videos already if you can call them in every day? I get it now. I'm just too naive, too uninformed, and so I'm too literal-minded, believing literally what Mike Batista said, and therefore I have to correct myself. This is the better way, in my opinion. So, there are different, this is, by the way, this is how the Tedesco brothers do their scientific analysis of the UFOs. And the great news is this Sunday, I'm having the Tedesco brothers on my live show. I hope it's my live show. We're working on an arrangement. I may have to pre-record it and then I'll post it up as a premiere Sunday night, but we're hoping to do a live show together. But I'm going to have the Tedescos again, and they're going to update us on their excellent research into the UFOs, doing this exact methodology. So exciting times coming up. Yeah. Both with Skywatcher and the Backyard Professor and the Tedesco brothers again. There are different classes that they observe under different conditions. Okay. They see patterns over time and historical trends. This is the value of repeating the experiment over and over again. Excellent. We build up an evidence base and we generate hypotheses around all of the different types of data and evidence that we collect. Yes. Yes. So we want to share our analysis of our hypothesis surrounding all of the data that we're collecting from so many various different types of data collecting instruments and people. Excellent. And they want to share their analysis with us, the public. They say that several times in this. I do hope that this includes rigorous, long, detailed video, not just 5 to 10-second cut or edited clips. Jake Barber gave me the impression that that is exactly what's going to be in part 2. I'm getting a little bit hopeful and excited here. This is good. We are dealing with real observation of objects with performance characteristics that are truly anomalous. Okay, I'm remaining cautiously optimistic, but it has to be very good data, meaning good video, good pictures, good radar, good infrared data, etc. And they assure us in this interview that is exactly what they are gathering and have gathered enough to put into part 2, and they're already at work on part 3. All right, I told them I would give them a chance to perform this year. Looks like they're going to deliver. 5 days. This is good news. We want to get others. This is Mr. Pines, the official spokesman. Here's what he says. We want to get others to poke at our data. Yes, we will do that for you. I promise. YouTube will be watching you guys, and we will poke at your data if it's needed. I promise you'll get peer review. If it's good, we will praise it and say what's good about it from our standpoint as well. I believe in being critical and calling to task sloppy work. I believe in giving credit and praise to excellent work. That's how it is. So we are all anxiously waiting to see what you've got, and it's exciting that it's coming up soon. We're not here. Now, this is Jake Barber. We're not here to produce an entertainment piece. This could take a long time. And now I am beginning to appreciate that I didn't appreciate it because it didn't sink in on me how extensive they are doing their data collection and how many different instruments of data they have to analyze, interpret, to see if it all coheres together with each other, etc. Well, that takes a lot of time and hard work. So I am in empathy here. I get it, and I agree, and I support it. I would rather have an excellent piece that is supported by the data than just a quickie, stupid shot with no context. I love this. This is good. So there's not going to be a certain pacing of episodes. We are doing the hard work. They are doing the field work. We shall see in episode 2, right? Yeah, he claims it, but show it. He says he's going to. Okay, I'll give him that chance. It's not a problem. And working on getting this out. A picture or a video is not total proof. Agreed entirely. We need multiple different sensor sources all corroborating the same object from different perspectives, showing anomalous behavior. This is what makes the Tedesco Brothers materials so strong and good as well. So I now am backing up, and I am in full agreement here. Absolutely. I'm backing up from my former criticisms. I truly. So I will add videos, and good pictures are very necessary as well, however, and that is what you're going to have to need to have the most and best of with your other corroborating evidence. We want to show video, radar, infrared, etc. This is excellent. The Tedescos do the same thing. I am entirely on board with this. This gives a higher confidence that it's real and highly anomalous. To this, I agree. There are two different techniques that they use. One is called electromechanical signaling. This is what Ross Coulthart identified as a dog whistle in the first interview with Jake, for an analogy. And the other one is the neuromeditative interaction, which is a new word, a new expression for using psionic abilities. And Jake Barber is good with either one. You know, if you want to call it psionics, call it psionics. Not a big deal. So both man and machine. What I see here is a legitimate, an honest, a real attempt at trying to utilize all of the available sources combined, human and machine, of all the different types that can help collect data on these anomalies in the sky. They are able to identify regularities in the sky as well, and using their equipment and their psionic, their neuromeditative techniques, they can also use as a control to verify if it's just a normal jet or a helicopter or something else, a balloon, swamp gas, whatever, when they can properly and with all the full range and scale of evidence that they are gathering, eliminate all of the regular materials. What's left is anomalous. That makes sense to me. Okay, so this is good. We have using the electromagnetic system repeatedly gotten UAP to appear directly overhead. That's Jake Barber. Man, this is my comment. Man, I have to see this along with all the other data. Please have good video. He assured Ross Coulthart, who essentially just said the same thing that I just said, and Jake responded, yes, we have it. And yes, we will show it. Fantastic. So, not quite as strong. Now, he also admits something very interesting, and this is where I have to reassess my own interpretation of Michael Batista, the psionics guy who says I can call him in anytime I want. Actually, what they have discovered when they're out in the field for their 7 days, and they're utilizing all of the various machines, as well as the human psionic people to call in the UAP, to invite them in, we have, using the electromagnetic system, repeatedly got the UAP to appear, but not quite as strong using the human meditative method. But we do have some data, and we want to collect more. I sure hope you have video for this and show it. What they admitted was Batista was, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he was using rhetoric, right? And here's why I say this. Barber shockingly confesses and says and admits it, and he's looking the camera right in the eye, and he's stone cold sober serious. He says, we have had 100% success rate with the dog whistle, but not with the human meditative. But the human meditative practice has produced results, and we have had craft come in. Very interesting. So we're using both methods to cross-check and assess the data. Excellent. Can't argue with that. Real fill data with real results, but we're only in the beginning. It is only April. Okay. There's a lot that goes into showing something is anomalous, and I do get that. Correct. There is a process to proving something is truly anonymous, and I agree with that as well. You have to negatively get rid of all of the commonality because it doesn't match the data in order to arrive at the conclusion tentatively that, you know what, that is an anomaly, either visually or in the erratic way it's moving, using Lou Elizondo's 5 observables, which they also talk about. That's how we can discriminate. That's how we distinguish. That's how we differentiate the regular from the anomalous. That is an important part of the process, and that is what takes time. I am completely on board with that. I entirely agree with that. Yes. They say they have level 3 data, which means they have videos, pictures, they have radar, they have infrared, that some things they've seen are truly anomalous. The jellyfish they have seen is not like the one on YouTube. This looks like an actual jellyfish, and it changes color and shape as it's flying through the air. Purple, maroon, yellows. And it has the mushroom head. It has the tentacle-like things on it that extend and retract, etc. I seriously hope there's a video for this in part 2 is my comment. You gotta start giving us more than words, you guys. You're making a gargantuan claim here without question. So, I mean, it has tentacles too. Wow. Show the video, man. Don't shortchange us. Balloons get ruled out rather quickly. Now, what they've done in order to be able to test their hypothesis, to be able to explore the data, which helps them discriminate the true from the false, is, I think this is awesome. They launched their own balloons under different types of conditions, and they also videoed them. They infrared recorded them. They recorded them on radar, and they established a basis through repeated testing balloons. They established a basis for how balloons behave. And using that data, they can compare that to something else that may look similar to a balloon that they call in, but none of the machine data collecting systems that they have give the same data as they had when they recorded 20 or 30 of their balloons, thus giving them good evidence that that's not a balloon. I love this approach. Bravo, Skywatcher, for using that technique. That's genius. It's very necessary. I love it. So, balloons aren't going to change how they look like these things in the sky do that are behaving anomalously. Yeah, there you go. So we are going to be sure of our data in order to stop all the armchair quarterbacks on the internet from being able to show us just a balloon. Nice. And it appears to me like they're taking that serious. You will see the jellyfish anomaly, Jake Barber says. In the episode 2, and Colt Hart here specifically says, okay, let me get this straight. I wouldn't be a good reporter if I didn't. I've got to pin you down here. You are going to show the video of the jellyfish? And Barber immediately says, oh yeah, on video in part 2. Absolutely. In fact, there's 2 of them, and you'll see them. We're going to see the jellyfish 100% of the time when we use the machine type dog whistle way of inviting the UAP in. 100% of the time that they use this technique, the UAP show up. So my impression I'm getting is through time, they've got a lot of data to sort through. We will be seeing some of that in part 2 if Jake Barber is telling the truth to Ross Colt Hart here, which is really what I'm hoping. And this is in broad daylight as well, that they see them. It's visible from multiple observation posts as well. And they've gotten close enough that you can see them with the naked eye, less than half a mile, 4,000 feet. And Ross Colt Hart, whoa, went like that. So they do come in close. You can see them. So, but, and again, in a real fashion, Barber confesses. He says, look, though, that doesn't mean these are easy to image. They aren't. It's not like Hollywood, you guys. In episode 2, we show you, here's what we're going to get in episode 2. We're going to get the raw footage of the video as it happened. And then they're going to zoom in on the thing and show a zoomed in part as well. But real data, you have to understand, is not always sensational. Now, I can verify this from my personal experience. Again, here's an anecdotal story. But I actually have shown you a little bit of evidence on my own videos. When I go out with my night vision binoculars, and after I make this video tonight, I think there is an open spot in the sky. I'm going to go try to image something up in the sky tonight. If not, I've got a great weekend coming up. I'm going to get some more video that I will be able to share with you. But when I image stuff with the night vision binoculars, you're not seeing real close up. I mean, I've shown you the pictures. Myself and Richard Mongold did some spectacular astrophotography last Sunday on my live. That's not what you see in the night vision binoculars. It's not overly incredibly magnified and fantastic. It's actually almost monochrome. It's kind of black and white. And essentially all you're seeing is just points of light. Every now and then you see a satellite move along. Every now and then something will blink, etc. But quite frankly, the data from the instrument is actually not really sensational at all. So I get it. I get why he's saying that, because it's true. So that doesn't mean that real data is valueless, however. Just because it's not sensational Hollywooded doesn't mean the data you can get from a night vision pair of binoculars is invalid. Oh, heavens no. That is entirely the wrong direction to take. Jake says they are getting support from the government, but they are not calling the shots. The government is not calling the shots with them. We are in communication with Arrow, and there are other departments interested in this as well in the government. And the government is not one amorphous blob that is opposed against UAP disclosure and understanding. There are people who want to know this stuff and want it out. No one is telling us to stop what we're doing, according to Barber. We are open about what we are doing. No one is going through their information, selecting something here. Oh, yeah, that's okay to show, but nope, you're not allowed to show that or that or that. Nope, that's going to be classified. See, that was my fear, and I expressed it in last night's video. Jake Barber says, none of that's happening. It never has. We've got lots of video and evidence to show you guys, and we're going to. So I hope he holds to his word. We're not going to shoot anything down, and he's adamant about this. Now, and this might be one of the best parts of understanding, of coming to realize the intent of Skywatcher. This part I really am behind all the way without any hesitation whatsoever. We're not going to shoot anything down. There will be no aggression toward the craft or beings. We are attempting to have pure intentions. And he identifies that as love in your heart for the UFO. And he says, I would love to prove that with that intention of love in your heart, you can scientifically prove that that is the way to call in the UFOs and have conversations with them. That'd be spectacular. No kidding. That would rock. That would be really cool. Intention matters. Jake Barber says that. Okay, so we're open to inviting a craft to land for us to see. Apparently, they haven't been able to do that just yet, but who knows? The future is wide open. We will buy, and then this is the other interesting idea, kind of a prediction. They're putting themselves on the line, but I am now, based on all of this background information that they presented in this interview, I really do understand why they're making such a tight prediction for the end of 2025. That's this year. Well, we're in April, man. You're a fourth of the way through. And apparently they've been super busy and working like crazy, which is good, in my opinion. So we will, by the end of 2025, Jake Barber said, either prove or disprove that we can call in the UAP, the NHI. We have no interest in making this an indefinite conclusion. In other words, we're not going to carry this on for year after year after year. No, we've set a goal, and we're working toward that goal, and we want to accomplish that goal. It still takes a lot of work to learn what is it, however. Just because you see it on a video and it comes in and all, after you get the evidence that, yes, there is this anomaly, you then have to gather the scientists, the philosophers, the historians together and begin the task of analyzing, what is this? So the work's not done just because you got a video made. That makes sense to me, personally. We are focused on scientific field experiments. Good. Our goal is to collect data on UAP. Again, good. And to share it with the public. Good. Now, I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic. I'm going to say publicly, I have enough faith in you to watch, to give you moral support, to review when you share information. I as well will share my perspective with my audience, both either if you need a slap or if you need a pat on the back, I will do so. I don't have any hesitation in doing either one when it's justified. I'm not entirely against you. I'm not entirely for you. I am curious. I am hopeful. I am being supportive, but I want it real. No bluffing. No hokey stuff. And I do believe that Skywatcher has learned its lesson with that. I think they've turned over a new stone. I think they appear to me at this point to be really very serious. And that is seriously good news. So April 7th, you guys, watch it. I will be reviewing it. I am cautiously optimistic. New and good things can happen all of the time in this incredibly crazy and yet utterly fascinating, and what I would hope to be is a very important issue in our lives. So thanks for watching the Backyard Professor Responds videos. Hit the like and subscribe. Share this video with everybody that you know so that I can keep the algorithm helping me out and get the good word out. There are sometimes things that we don't have to believe. There are other times things that we really ought to believe. It's all based on evidence. And we explore, we analyze, we criticize, and we praise the evidence as it comes in. That's what it's all about. Thanks again, you guys. I'll catch up to you very soon.